Hi, my name's Rose, and I'm so excited to bring you this special 2022 episode of An Inside Job. My podcasts are about my journey in life and what I've learned to be valuable along the way. I'm an author and a mentor. I've been called a life changer, and I believe that my purpose is to help you see your way through to freedom. You know, when you're willing to change, when you decide enough is enough, the teacher always appears. When you understand yourself physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually, you will be in harmony with yourself. Your life is an inside job. No one can do this for you but you. So, are you ready? Hello, everyone, and welcome to An Inside Job, and I'm your host, Rose. 2022 is almost here, and 2021 has been a huge year. Huge. That's an understatement, right? It's been emotional. There's been disharmony, relationship upheavals, retrogrades, and planets aligning. Your energy centers have really been pushed around, some to the limit. My friend Carla Savannah and I talked 2022 and our thoughts and predictions. I've had Carla on a previous episode where I shared her work with you. It was in season 2, so check that out. So, who is Carla? Carla Savannah is a soul realignment practitioner with a vast knowledge in Akashic record readings. Carla is an intuitive counsellor who's created the 8 Selves therapy that helps you to connect with your higher self, and it gives you a deeper understanding of who you are and your abilities. Carla's also known as an author, and you can find her links on the description of this podcast. I'm so happy to be sharing this insightful podcast with you. So let's do this. Welcome, Carla Savannah, and thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Rose.
I am so looking forward to talking 2022.
Yeah.
We're all set and ready. It'll all be broken up into categories and easy to understand and easy to listen to. We've got lots of information for you guys today.
We do.
There's so many things that we faced with 2021. I don't know about you, but gosh, what a year it's been.
I know, what a roller coaster.
I'm looking forward to seeing the end of it and the beginning of something new.
Yeah.
So we have pulled cards for the energy of 2022. We can get a little bit of an idea of the energy of this year to come. So Carla, how about if I start with my card of 2022 and we'll do it that way, and I'll do mine and then you do yours, and we'll give everybody an idea of our thoughts for 2022.
Sounds good.
So first we'll talk about the overall energy. So this is the card that I've done every year, and this is the card that is basically the energy for 2022. And the card that came through for me was the 7 of Wands. And the 7 of Wands is a really interesting card because in the traditional deck, it's usually a male, but I have a female on my cards. And she's actually standing at the top of a hill. She's armed with a wand and she's defending her space. She's defending herself, and she's wearing 2 different shoes, which really is just letting us know that she was caught unaware and or unprepared for the battle that she's facing. Maybe she's not sure or she's not clear about what her thoughts are. But it's about taking a stand, really, taking the high ground and fighting for what you believe in. This is the card of persistence and not giving in to other people's opinions and judgments and defending your ground. So I feel like the energy of 2022 is going to be about really sticking to our guns and being brave. This is the card of bravery. I feel that whatever we commit ourselves to, we need to persevere and see it through. So that's kind of what I feel for 2022. What's your take on that, Carla?
Well, originally I pulled out one card that presented as the blind spot. But as you were talking, I decided to actually pull out another card to surprise you. So the blind spot one is more about, you know, not seeing what's directly in front of you. So there's almost like that energy of there's going to be information that's going to be put directly in front of your face, but for some reason, people are not just, they're not going to have enough clarity to be able to see it for what it's worth, if that makes sense. So, and that's what that blind spot kind of symbolizes to me. But interestingly, then when I pulled out another card from a different deck, I got the ant spirit. And the ant spirit is all about time for collaboration. So when I think about the ant spirit, I think of all of this community of people coming together and building a colony together, you know, and coming into an agreement to build their city. So that collaboration spirit is the overall sort of energy, which is, you know, cooperation was my, you know, main energy as well that I would bring up for 2022. So that's in alignment with that. I feel like our cards connect in that way because you can see that there's going to be a lot of challenges in regards to collaborating and creating this cooperation, you know, but there's also that shadows part that comes in and that blind spot that comes in where a lot of people are not going to be seeing what is directly in front of them clearly enough.
Wow. I love how they kind of sync together. They kind of mirror each other, which is really interesting because we are using different cards for this too.
Yeah.
So we've broken things down into different titles for you guys so we can address different areas. And the first area we want to address is Mother Earth. For me, I've pulled the Knight of Swords card. I always say with this one, who dares wins. So this is about seizing the moment, being bold and jumping in with both feet. But with this one, this is about changes and opportunities that are coming our way. You know, we're needing to address things quickly. We're going to be impulsive. I strongly feel with this one that we need to clear clutter in our homes, but clear clutter in our lives in order to simplify things. One thing that the Knight of Swords is jumping out at me with at the moment is to be faced with like sudden decisions, maybe feeling overwhelmed. And if you're feeling overwhelmed, maybe this is a good time to consider what your next move is instead of being too impulsive. So preparation is what I'm getting. So I just feel like it's a full charge ahead, but it's about not being impulsive. So if I think about that with Mother Earth, I kind of feel like whatever's coming forward with Mother Earth, it's going to come quickly and we're going to have to address things quickly.
Yeah.
I have channeled information with this one as well. One thing that I received with this is that the first quarter of the year will highlight natural disasters. I feel that whatever the natural disasters are going to be, I think that's probably what's linking with the Knight of Swords. What do you think about this one, Carla?
See, I've got the snake spirit that has come in. That gives me a sense of transformation because when I think about the snake, and it's in alignment with a lot of what you said as well, because the snake moves fast and bites fast, you know, but also the snake is transformation because it releases the old skin and makes space for the new. And if I was to associate that or relate that to Mother Earth, when you think that you stamp on the ground, you know, you stir up the snakes that are in the ground. And so that to me might represent earthquakes and a lot of natural disasters in that way, unfortunately, that might come about. So earthquakes and possibly even, you know, volcanoes, something that's coming from inside the ground, fires. I think that all of those things we really need to be aware of and what can come after those. But also in alignment with that whole resourcefulness too, you know, needing to declutter, needing to make space for any of the new that's coming in, which means making sure you have with you the things that you're prepared to pick up quickly. And if you need to run with them quickly, you know, if you need to evacuate your house because of some sort of natural disaster, making sure that you've got everything all there and ready, the things that you find important to you, you know, whether they are photos, whether they are, you know, heirlooms or something that is there and quickly accessible. So if you need to take off quickly, you can gather all your things quickly and go. I mean, obviously it would be in specific areas, but the unpredictability that I'm feeling around Mother Earth at the moment is that I wish I could say that it's only those areas that most regularly have earth issues or these natural disasters are going to be the only ones affected. But for some reason, I keep getting, which I have been getting for a while, is that things are going to start coming up in areas that we never would even think about.
Yep. Yep.
It seems to be happening, and more predominantly happening in areas that we never thought it would.
And that's that unpredictability of it all, that impulsiveness, because we have to act very quickly.
Yeah.
There's not really much deep thought.
Yeah, like the snake needs to work fast.
Yeah.
Move fast.
The next area we wanted to address was relationships and love. Now, for me, I got the 5 of Wands conflict card. Sometimes it's external conflict, but I'm actually feeling that this is also internal conflict. So I feel that there's maybe a conflict or a rivalry in relationships and love, but I feel that this really talks about compromise. So even though there's the energy of, the conflict, the rivalry, maybe there's competition, maybe there's relationships that are starting to form, but there might be jealousy or something around it. I feel that you just need to think clearly when it comes to this one. When we understand everybody's viewpoint, we open ourselves up to listening. So I feel like listening is going to be really important. There's nothing wrong with healthy competition, there's nothing wrong with any of that. It really puts it into perspective what it is that we actually want. So sometimes those kind of emotions that come in just puts things into perspective. What I did channel through with this was the importance of building connections now, because I feel that late next year, there's going to be a time of misinformation. I feel that people are going to turn on each other in some way. So there's going to be whispers, spying is what I'm getting. So now is the time to build the tribes, the connections, form your connections with those that are close to you. Make sure that your circles are circles that you trust, because I feel that we need to build relationships that we know we can count on. Late next year, things are really going to be stirred up relationship and love-wise. So I kind of feel this importance of compromising, compassion, the importance to stand back and look at a situation instead of getting tied up into that rivalry and that conflict. Sometimes it's good to stand back, because when you stand back, you can see it instead of being reactive. And I think we need to learn that in 2022. Instead of being reactive, it's important to really look at everybody's viewpoint, because everybody's battling from their corner of the ring, the way they see things. So it's important to have that compromise. But I really do believe that to not put yourself in the middle of situations, just to really observe them. And that's probably the best way to get through it. But I really do feel that importance of bonding and building.
Yeah, I totally agree. The one that I got was that bee energy. So when I think of the bee, I think of the bee that works really, really hard to create the honey.
Yeah.
So ultimately, when you associate that with relationships and love, is that, it's going to take some work. And I feel like really great and sweet results are going to come from people putting the effort and the work into their relationships and into their love and connection with others. It'll reap better rewards if you're going to be doing that rather than, giving up too quickly. So I feel like that's the energy that I kind of see around love and relationships, is that need for working on the connection and making sure that you put the effort in.
Yep.
Really understanding each other and working together.
And I like that, because it's actually going really well with that 5 of Wands, because the 5 of Wands, when you really look at it, even though there is that conflicting part of that card, it's the importance of standing back, because you choose whether you're going to get in that battle or not. The energy I'm actually getting from that is don't get in the middle of it. Choose your battles wisely, step back. When you look at something from a different perspective, but you're looking at it with compassion, you're actually adding that sweetness instead of souring something. So I think we really need to look at our tribes, our groups, our loved ones, and really bring them in.
Yeah,
I really feel like we need to trust each other.
absolutely. You know, in Portugal, we've got that old saying, you can't catch flies with vinegar, you have to catch flies with honey, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that would definitely be in alignment with where we're moving towards, I think, just really trying to be a little bit more sweet
Yes.
towards each other in relationships rather than, you know, so sharp and quick-tongued.
Yeah, absolutely. The next part we want to talk about is family. Now, family is something that's really important. And, you know, some of us are separated from families because of the situation worldwide. So family is a very important, or it really goes with relationships as well, ties in the importance of strengthening that. And the card I have with that is the Queen of Wands. And personally, I love her. And she really brings that beautiful message of believing in yourself and what you stand for. It's about speaking up and owning your power. She really stands in that power because she's courageous, confident, and intelligent. So she's got all that aspect of her. So assert your independence. With family, it's important nurturing that family environment, but it's also important to believe in who you are and what you can do in that situation. The channeled message I got through that was it's not about status, money, it's more about compassion. And I feel that the message they were saying is to reach out and help those that are closest to us. In crisis, humans are great at helping everyone. That's actually what we're really good at doing. And sometimes we forget that. So as a humanity, crisis just brings love out in us and we reach out and look after those around us. I feel that 2022 isn't just about ourselves, but it's about helping others. So there's our, you know, forming groups, community of it being really important. And I feel that the Queen of Wands is bringing that energy to the table when it comes to family. So what did you get, Carla?
Yeah, I really agree because I think 2022, I mean, you've got the 222, which is all about, you know, connections and family and that. And then when you add all of them together, you got 222 is equals 6.
Yes.
And 6 is the tribal number. It's the energy of the family, the tribe, the community. It's a sense of belonging. It's all about the root chakra, finding places where you feel safe, secure, and supported. So yeah, that's what 2022 is going to be bringing. It's all about that energy of that connection and cooperation and community and finding your tribe. And interestingly, the card that I actually got was the cat energy. So and the cat is in alignment with you is that independent energy. You know, I can be independent, I can be individual, I can be confident while also being part of a tribe or a community or a family. You know, just because I'm part of this family doesn't mean I have to lose myself. I'm part of this family, but I can also have an individual opinion. Just because someone thinks one way doesn't mean I have to have the same belief system. So I think this card for me represents the energy that while we are going into a time where it is going to be all about finding our tribe, we can also be individuals at the same time, and we can be, you know, confident in our personal beliefs and our personal points of view. Doesn't mean that we have to be nasty or in competition with anyone else. It just means more of a sense of acceptance of uniqueness of each individual.
I have to show you, look what's on her lap. She's got a black cat sitting on her lap.
A cat.
So
Awesome.
perfect card.
Oh, way cool. Hey, check out my one.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Beautiful card. We're even sharing our cards. That's what's so good. You guys can't see that, but
Yeah.
now with the next one, we've got economics and finance. Now that's something that's really important because look, you know, we're living in a pandemic, aren't we? So it's all over the place. I got the 2 of Cups, which I find it's a beautiful card because it's about commitment. It's about favorable connections. It's usually the relationship card because there's a man and woman coming together. But I feel like that's about us coming together. There's like a mutual respect here. This is a good sign if you're looking for a job or if you're wanting to change jobs. Maybe you're not happy where you are. This is showing that the change that you can step into a new job. The universe is bringing abundance of positive energy. And if there's been disagreements, this is probably the best time to step forward to resolving this issue. I have to tell you that what I channeled through with this one, I got the numbers. So 3 of 3. So I'm gathering what they were saying was the third of the third. Sometimes when I get my channeling stuff, it doesn't always make sense until it makes sense. But they're showing me that there's going to be something revealed and there's going to be like a revelation. Whatever this revelation is, they're kind of giving me the word cleanse, release, purge. There's a purging of something. So I don't know what that is, but it's got everything to do with this economics and finance. So I maybe you can shed some light on that, Carla.
Yeah. Oh, well, how interesting that you say, because I got the number 9 come up for me. And when you said 3 of 3, I was like, 3 times 3 is 9, you know, and
Yeah.
I was like, wow. So, and the number 9 energy for me is, it's this kind of self-sacrificial energy, which interestingly, the card that I've got is the Know Your Worth card, which
Wow.
is the skunk. So there's this, when I relate that to economics and finance, I think of businesses and I think of, you know, people underselling themselves and not really knowing their worth and not charging according to what they are actually worth. So we want to avoid self-sacrificial behaviors in order to in order to serve humanity. In that desire to serve humanity, don't become so self-sacrificial. Really, really know your value, know your worth, charge accordingly. And especially now at this point in time, I think a lot of people are seeking a lot of guidance, especially in regards to economics and finance and their own business and that part of things. So there's that energy of the skunk that comes in. You know, the skunk, when you think about the skunk, it's like an animal that as soon as you see, you freak out, you're like, oh my God, you know. But you know, even the skunk probably has a very specific value or a very specific worth. You have to know your worth. Ultimately, stop sacrificing yourself in order to serve others. Really know the value of yourself, your business. And then the number 9 is all about, again, decluttering, removing the old, getting rid of what no longer serves, making space for the new that comes in. So whatever's not working within your job or within your business or within employment, start moving it out, remove it, you know. Unfortunately, I do see a lot of unemployment that can happen, but I also see a lot of new opportunities coming in too, because still the energy of the number 3 is all about creativity and creation and co-creation. So while some doors might close in some jobs, new doors will open for new jobs that will be coming in. So I would take it as meaning that too. So don't worry about, you know, jobs that are needing to be left behind or needing to move forward. I think we're moving into a time where people are becoming more selective about the kind of work that they're going to be doing and how they want to be paid anyway. Energetically overall, I feel like economics and finance, at least within Australia, I feel really comfortable here. I'm not so comfortable, I think, in some other areas of the world, but I think that in Australia, I feel quite comfortable here. I feel quite stable. I don't see anything that's going to majorly fluctuate either way. I'm quite comfortable with that part of things here in Oz.
Interesting, isn't it? Now we're moving into my favorite subject. The next one is about spirituality and personal development. I love this stuff. Now, with this one, I got the Ace of Pentacles, and the Ace of Pentacles is all about positive new beginnings, abundance. It's about stability. This is about manifesting. The hand is coming out of the cloud. The universe is offering this to you. And what I channeled through with this is that spiritual information is going to rise massively. I feel that people are really going to turn to their spiritual side. And of course, for me, spirituality is all about self. And we are wanting to be more connected with ourselves more now than ever. And I think that people are going to be searching and wanting to learn more. And something that we need to understand, because I really believe that we're all light workers here ready to switch on and do what our purpose to do at this time is. And it's not about competition. The world needs all of us, right? It's not about who's taking your work and who's going to go to someone else and who's better and who's not. It's actually about getting the help, getting the guidance. And we cannot have too many intuitives. And I really believe that it's important for us to be there and use our gifts and not be in competition with others or compare ourselves to others, because we are all authentically our individual selves. And we have enough of us to facilitate all the people of the world. That's why now we have the internet. We've got ways of communicating. So I feel like now is the time to cultivate compassion, growing it and harvesting it. So I feel that when the universe said to me, cultivate compassion, Rose, grow it, harvest it, I saw that beautiful, the Ace of Pentacles is just perfect for me. It's kind of like the universe is actually handing, it's saying, here, this is the gift we've given you, use it. So I feel that spirituality is just going to go through the roof next year.
I'm totally in alignment with you. So the card that I got was the squirrel spirit. And when I think of the squirrel, I think of, you know, the movie Ice Age, where you see that squirrel that's always at the beginning and the end fighting for the nut.
Yeah.
So, but you know, that squirrel is really confident. Like he knows he's going to get it somehow eventually, you know, and he's really persistent in it. So the energy of the squirrel is all about believing in yourself and really understanding what is your own intuition and listening to your higher self's guidance and moving towards that. This specific card also adds up to the number 3, which is very creative energy. So I feel like in regards to spirituality and personal development, we're needing to move towards that creativity in how we actually create more belief within ourselves, trying new things, experimenting, going on little adventures, and really trying to discover where you fit in. You know, when I think of the number 3, I think of a child that's dipping their toe in each pool, trying to figure out which one they want to jump into almost. And that's that creative energy. But when you bring in the confidence of the squirrel, he's like, I know I'm going to achieve it sooner or later. It's just a matter of when. I know I'm going to get that nut. So
yep.
I know I'm going to get that nut and it's going to happen. So really believe in yourself. And I think that's the energy that I can put forward for spirituality, definitely in personal development, really tapping into your own intuition, trying new things, getting very creative with everything that you try, and really kind of discovering where you fit in.
Love that. It does go really well together, doesn't it? I feel really, that's one of the subjects that I actually feel will really blossom next year.
Yeah, I agree. I think so too. I think a lot of people are going to be seeking out a lot of personal development and spirituality. And I feel like it's just the beginning, because I think the year after that it's going to be even more. But definitely this year is going to start that spark within to start really questioning, you know, what is your own inner truth? What are you capable of creating, you know, and starting to create that personal belief within self.
Now it brings us on to health and COVID. Yes, it's here. It's a subject we need to talk about because health is really, really important. And for this one, I've got 2 cards. I have one specifically for health, and I've got the second one that's come through for COVID for me. So it kind of goes together though. So I'd like to read them together. So I have the 9 of Swords, which is, I call it the worry card. It's also the card of anxiety. It could be sleep disorders. It could be fear. I feel like this is someone that's not sleeping well at night because they're worried. And when you look at the card, there's actually someone sitting up in bed with their face in their hands, full of worry. So I feel that people are worried about their health. They're worried about what's going to happen next because we have so much uncertainty with this. But the card, and I feel like it was important to have the two because the swords are pointing into the next card, which is the Emperor. And personally, I love the Emperor. The Emperor is a leader. So it's about leading. And this is when I always say, go to the beat of your own drum. You have to take responsibility for yourself. And the Emperor comes through for me with that energy. It's about being disciplined in order to bring stability for you. It's about having some order in your life. This is about regaining control. I feel like there needs to be discipline and logic in your approach so that you can achieve what it is that you want to achieve when it comes to your health. I think this is things like wash your hands, use hand sanitizer, wear a mask, do those things that are part of being disciplined, doing those things that you need to do. And that can probably help with the anxiety. Because I feel if we're going to have to go out, there's no point in being afraid. We have to do it. But if we do it in a way that we lead in ourselves and we are organized in what we're doing, we can protect ourselves as best we can. So that's what I kind of feel that's coming through with health and COVID. What are you feeling?
Oh, mate, the card that I got was 66. And while I usually like the number sixes, you can't help but go past the whole, old wives' tales of six being from the darkness. So, and when I kind of tapped into that energy, and the card is actually the White Raven, but the feeling that I get around it is that this whole COVID thing kind of really serves a purpose, because at no other points in time have we as a human race been so focused on our health. When you look at, there's so many people that are really, really focused on health in general. And now COVID has really brought to the surface our awareness around what it means to be healthy and taking responsibility for taking care of our physical body and our health and that whole part of things. So responsibility is a really big thing. So while COVID in general, the energy around it, I feel like it comes from the darkness, but the White Raven tells me that it's moving into the light. So out of this dark moment that is COVID-19, we are actually moving towards becoming healthier beings. We are moving towards becoming more aware of our physical health. And another thing that I'd want to address is, I hate talking about vaccines. I don't care if you're pro-vax or anti-vax, whatever it is. But the idea is that you want to be able to take care of your health regardless of whether you're vaccinated or not vaccinated. So, if you choose not to be vaccinated, please take care of your health so that, your immune system is strong enough to deal with it if it comes about. And if you do have the vaccine, still don't think that that protects you from everything, and don't think that just because you had the vaccine that all of a sudden now you can, continue to eat crap or not take care of your health or not exercise, or, just because you've got the vaccine doesn't mean you're safe from everything. So I think it really brings about the attention to us making sure that we take care of our health long term and really not bypassing it with any modern ideas or old ideas. And whatever works for each person is different as well, obviously, because some people might take well to one thing, some people might not take well to that thing. So I think the overall energy here really is understanding that this virus has obviously come from darkness, and out of this darkness, it's actually bringing to the light a lot of the things that needed to be acknowledged around health and around physical care and around the medical system and everything that has come about from this. I think the purpose is to really take care of our health. And definitely that for some reason also the word trust seems to come up as well for me. So there's that feeling of you need to trust your system, you need to trust your body, you need to trust your immune system to do what it needs to do in order to survive, regardless of whether it's COVID or if it's another disease or something. And you want to be able to optimize your chances of survival by taking care of your physical health in every way. Definitely trying to cultivate some more trust in the process of everything that's happening and everything that's unfolding at the moment because of this health crisis that we're going through.
Absolutely. And as I look at the Nine of Swords, because that's about fear and anxiety, part of looking after your health is really stepping away from all that negativity as well, whatever it is, whether it's pro or not pro vaccine. There's a lot of negative energy out there in regards to it. Step away.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, however you're feeling, you're then absorbing all that energy that isn't even yours.
Yeah.
So it's about taking care of yourself on all levels.
Yeah. And mental health. There you go. Like that's like a massive, massive.
Absolutely.
I think that's probably 10 times more dangerous because, you know, if your mental health's not okay, that leaves you susceptible and open to any other viruses and diseases that can come in too.
Absolutely. There's the sleep issue with this card as well. So if you're not getting enough sleep and enough rest, remember your mind isn't as sharp, nor is your body. So it's important to look after your health on all levels. I always say the physical, spiritual, mental, emotional, all of them need to be looked after.
I totally agree.
Now, the last one we've got is worldwide personalities. There's a reason for this one too, because this was part of some of the channeled information I got. And we've got the Seven of Swords. Now, I usually call the Seven of Swords the thief card, because this is kind of the saying of there's a traitor in the camp. And on the card, there's a guy walking away from a camp carrying swords that he's obviously stolen while the soldiers slept. So I feel with this card, it's that someone worldwide, some worldwide personality is getting away with something that they should not be getting away with. Could be risky behavior. There could be things that are happening that shouldn't be happening. Something could be stolen or taken away from someone. I feel like all that kind of energy. But what they showed me with this was the royal family. Now, I don't ever see anything to do with the royal family, but I see the Queen take her crown off and she places it on William's head. And as soon as I saw that, I thought, why has he got it? Isn't it supposed to be Charles? But the beautiful words that came after that was, he will bring in things differently. He's got a different way of bringing things in. And the Queen knows that. The Queen knows that he is the change that needs to happen. And he has a way of being able to do that. I was still surprised that I saw the royal family, but that's something that I feel like I need to share with you. I don't even know if that's even possible, but that's what came up for me. So what did you get for worldwide personalities?
Well, this is interesting because I got that crow energy. And when I think of crown, you know, I'm like, that's interesting. But maybe that for me in general, the feeling that I got was that people in power or some people who have some sort of authority, there's going to be two things that can happen here. I feel like there's going to be some internal people that a lot of people will get upset with, or, you know, like politics, for example, that most of the people will see them as bad, but then all of a sudden it's like something's going to be revealed and they're going to go, hang on a second, we've actually got a good guy in there at the moment, you know? So I feel like we might have some pleasant surprises there, but I also feel like karmic balancing is going to take place. I think anyone who had very negative intentions, I feel like karma is going to come back on them in a nasty sort of way. And I usually like to talk about positive karma, not negative karma. But yeah, for some reason, I feel like the consequences will definitely come back on some of the people's bad intentions or negative intentions. So yeah, I feel like a lot of stuff is definitely going to come to the surface. And the crow in general really normally signifies, you know, co-creation with higher energies or with spirit energy. So the crow can almost be seen as the eyes between this world and another world. That's why I kind of thought, you know, maybe there's some sort of karmic balance that might happen. I suppose I keep seeing that number 8, you know, the infinity symbol.
Yep.
You know, what goes around comes around. Yeah. So I feel like next year, I think that whole, that's going to play out, in the karmic circle within worldwide personalities. I feel like, a lot's going to be uncovered, and a lot of interesting informations, but not just on the negative side. Like, I actually really do see some people showing up as the good guy or the knight in shining armor. And so it's interesting that you've mentioned that, it might be handed over to someone that might actually make better decisions and make more positive decisions for humanity moving forward.
As you were talking, I clearly heard there's going to be scandals next year.
Yeah.
There's going to be it's almost like things are going to be revealed, and I'm getting that someone's going to really feel deceived, but I think it's going to be people that you wouldn't think of.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Like, oh, wow, I thought that, he was totally in love with her, or she was totally in love with him. So I really do feel like we're going to see some of that. I think there's more than meets the eye, what you're seeing and what it is, it will be completely different.
Yeah.
How you perceive people, you will see a different side. But I feel like things are going to come to the surface, and we're really going to see situations, especially with personalities, because sometimes people look at personalities and think, oh, lucky them, they have everything. That's not necessarily it, because we all have our issues, don't we?
Yeah. And in general, I see more feminine energy stepping up.
Oh, absolutely.
I see a lot of masculine energy starting to see women as a lot more equal. And I would hate for it to become, a battle between the sexes, patriarchal versus matriarchal, but I would prefer to see them in harmony and in balance. And I feel like that's where we're moving towards, a bit more of a harmonious relationship between masculine and energy. I talk about all of this in my new book that's about to be released. So the new book 2 of 21st Century Relationships, which is all about why humans weren't designed to be married. I actually go into depth in regards to this. So
we're stepping into our real selves
beautiful.
now.
Yeah, it's nice and balanced.
Yes, a lot more balance, definitely.
So I believe you've got some questions for us?
We do. We have some questions from some of our Patreons left us some questions. First one's from Kelly Sturgeon. Kelly is in Bali, and I love Kelly. Kelly was actually my girl that helped me with retreats when I went to Bali. And her question is, insight about money market would be appreciated. So she wants to know a little bit about the money market.
I feel like the money markets and markets in general are just so unpredictable.
Very.
I think regardless of the time that we're in, and I think more so now as well, it can be a little bit unpredictable. So unless she's amazing at it and she's a day trader or something like that, that really knows her stuff and what she's doing. But still, it's for some reason, it's just an area at the moment that just feels a little bit, 1 foot forward, 1 foot back.
I agree.
It's a bit too for me.
Well, I thought I'd pull a card because I find it's always easier to pull a card and go with it. And I've got the King of Wands, which is about being a leader. So not losing sight of your goals, not losing sight of what you, in other words, if you are in the money market, don't lose sight of what you're trying to achieve. I just see it as don't lose sight of your goal. Don't give up. Just really do your research. Don't make any sudden moves is what I feel I need to say. Don't make sudden moves because things can change very, very quickly.
Yeah, I'll second that. Yeah. I think that when you start going into the area of, the markets and stuff like that, I think you really have to go in with the mentality that I could lose all of this. It's like, I can afford to lose this, so that's why I'm putting it in. And then you kind of just, forget about it for a certain period of time. But if you're going to be relying on that, then I wouldn't be 100% there.
Our next one is Jenny Reynolds. She's from WA. Will 2022 go as fast as this year, or will it slow down? What happened to this year? I know that it was 2020 and now we're bringing in 2022. So I don't know about you, but it went really fast.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, honestly, like I mentioned in 2022, I can't say I see things slowing down because it is going to be all about relationships and connections and, community and tribal energy, people seeing each other and families and stuff like that. I see a lot more movement. And because I see all the airplanes back up in the air as well, I see a lot more movement there. So I think 2022 is going to bring different challenges to what we've been challenged in 2021. So I see a massive difference there, but whether it's going to slow down or not, I don't think I see that.
Yeah, I don't think so. But I've gotten the 5 of Cups with that. And I sort of feel like it's kind of saying that, well, I look at this guy and he's just looking at, God, it feels like it just went down the stream, it's gone. But look, we've still got so much ahead of us. And I feel that this is going to be important to not dwell on this year. This year has been really tough for many. A lot of people have lost a lot this year, and a lot of things have changed. This is the card of the best is yet to come. And I feel like it's important for us to stop looking at what we've lost in this whole situation and realize that there are blessings in all this. And I think we need to make the choice to slow down. It's not about days just moving really quickly. But I feel that if we're dwelling on the past and we're looking at what was, we're actually with a foot in the past and not both feet in our future and where we're heading. So I think we need to just turn around, accept what was, and now decide how we're going to tackle this next step, this next year, and be more open to it. Okay, the next one is Rochelle Sims. I have thought of one question with this coming year being 222 year. What will it mean for us?
So 222, like I mentioned, it's a lot of relationships and connections, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But then there's the other side of twos, because number twos, sometimes I think of the naughty twos, the naughty 2-year-olds.
Yeah.
And throw little tantrums and things like that. So twos can be very unpredictable. It is a dual number. So when you think of a number 2, it can be indecisive. It can go one way or the other. So I feel like there's that possibility that next year things can shift completely from one direction to completely the opposite direction. And that's where I see the number 2. Lots of new connections, friendships, relationships, people finding their own community and moving towards their tribe. But in general, if we don't head towards that part of things, we could create the opposite, which is the separation, the duality, the division, the lack of unity, the lack of connection and everything like that. Because remember, there's always 2 sides to one coin. Most people jump on board and they move towards those connections, then it could go very positively. But if people move towards that separation and that division of the number 2 and that over emotional indecisiveness and duality part of number 2, that could go quite bad.
Yeah. I also see 222 as expansion, growth. I actually feel that that's on a spiritual level. There's going to be a lot more growth and expansion and new opportunities. I feel that this is where we will have choices to make. So this is where I feel that we need to follow that gut feeling. So it leads us where we need to go, because we're always being guided. And you'll find that when you make a bad decision, you go, oh, I knew I should have done that, because we always know. We just then just go against and do something completely different.
And you bring up a really, really good point, I think, as well, because I think that a lot of people forget that they do have choice. They can actually make a decision. They can make a choice. And a choice is done at a level of action. A decision is done at a level of mind. So if you're making a decision and you keep it in the mind, it's not yet a choice. But when you actually physically act upon it, then it becomes a choice because you physically grounded it. So I think it's important that you brought that up, because we do absolutely have a choice in every single situation.
We think we don't, but we actually do.
Yeah. And I think that's going to be really, really important coming in 2022, is if I could get every single person to stop for a moment and go, hang on, do I have a choice in this situation? What are my choices? What options do I have available to me? That would be like the ultimate question that I want people to constantly be asking themselves in the coming year.
Right. Then we've got one from Valerie Dishaw. I'm concerned about our society today. I feel like everyone is disconnected and strong opinions are keeping them separated. Will 2022 bring any unity and compassion for each other? Yes, yes, yes. This is where we have to form our communities, our bonds, our tribes. It's going to be important because we have been kept separated. And you were just talking about the 222 and the division.
Yeah. And cooperation is definitely the key for 2022. That it is
Yeah.
cooperation, compassion, unity, and moving towards, what ants do. They build a colony together. We want to create a sense of order. All the cells in your body are an organism, and they're all working together to run your physical body. So, and this is what we need to start coming together as a humanity. I'm not saying that every single person's going to do that. Hopefully, we will jump on board with the energy of the universe at the moment, and we'll make the most of this catapult that we've got, which is all about unity and creating that unity and community. Hopefully we'll jump on board with that energy and continue to ride it out. But like I said, there is the duality. It can go opposite directions. If people don't come together, there can be a lot of chaos, a lot of people fighting each other for their own opinions and their own belief systems and their own. So I really wouldn't put it past still having lots of riots and lots of civil discussions. I think they could be very, very big at the moment, and I really I do worry about that division. But hopefully humanity will choose to move towards that, the more uniting part of the energy of the 222.
Yeah, I just felt guided to pull a card for this one for Valerie, and it's the card of influences, which is the Hierophant. And it's very interesting because this is where we seek mentors and like-minded people. This is when we say, you know what, I need to be open to other viewpoints. It's okay for me to be different. I don't have to follow those viewpoints, but it's important for me to be open, find that community, find those like-minded people, find the people that you feel right in. You feel like you belong somewhere. I think that's going to be really important going into 2022, feeling that you have a place where you belong, where you can be yourself.
I totally agree. I'm backing up on this one. I decided to pick a card as well. And I actually got the trust in divine detours. So whatever the detour is that you're faced with, just trust that it's taking you in the direction that it needs to.
Love that. Okay, last question is from Sharon Cooper from New Zealand. Is it safe for us to keep money in shares or in banks? It's very interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, it's another similar one too. I don't know about shares. I'm still kind of worried and concerned about shares. Like I said, if you
Me too.
shares, make sure that you're prepared to let go of whatever you put in case. I mean, you could make a really good decision. I think banks are safe for now. At the moment, I'm feeling okay. Even though a lot of people would say that, no, there's like a massive collapse on its way or something like that. But yeah, I don't see anything major, I think, happening with the banks. I see the banks still quite comfortable. And investments in stuff like properties and, long-term investments in regards to construction and stuff like that, I still see them going quite positively as well. I mean, here in Australia in general, I don't know about the rest of the world, but in Australia in general, and especially here in Western Australia, I do see more building and more construction and more growth.
I see all that too, because the house next door to me is up for rent, and I'm not kidding you. There was probably over 100 cars that turned up for that viewing, and they had it in lots. So many viewings per different time slot. And my whole street and down the street were just covered in cars, people flocking for one home because they're so hard to find. And people are building because it's actually cheaper to own a house than it is to rent one.
I think it's stabilizing, but I still see continued growth.
Yeah. Well, here we definitely have growth.
I'll agree with that.
Very interesting. Well, this looks like a great year ahead. A few things that are for us to keep our eyes open. To be honest with you, I felt that 2021 had more obstacles than 2022 when I started with that. But I see that we have different challenges in 2022.
Yeah. 21, I think, was all about changes and shifts and everything. Whereas I feel like it's in 2022, it's going to be more of a battle of regaining control. And this is on an individual level, as well as on a collective community level, as well as on a international level. I feel like we're going to be battling for now the control back over our sovereignty and our own personal power in that. So I feel like all the major changes that needed to happen have now happened. Now it's more about trying to get organization from the chaos that happened, over this past year. It's a bit more order. It's a more orderly way that we're moving towards.
Well, I've really enjoyed this, Carla. Thank you so much for chatting with me today. This was very insightful. So we've got a lot to look forward to and a few things to actually just be mindful of. Because remember, when we get these heads up, I call them, we just have to be mindful of things that are occurring and prepare ourselves, especially with the clearing of clutter, and make sure you've got some things that if you have to get out of your house, you grab this container that's got all your valuables, things, whatever's sentimental to you, have it near a front door or near a front room that you can literally grab and go out. I feel like those kind of things are just heads up, and it's actually good to have something like that for yourself.
And focus on what we do have choice over and what we do have control over at an individual level. There's so much that's going on out there, and we could become easily lost and anxious over everything that's going out on externally. So let's just bring the energy back into ourselves and say, okay, what do I have choice over? What do I have control over right now? And let me focus on just that.
What is going on inside of me?
Yeah.
Because remember, we're like the drop in the ocean. How we feel about ourselves radiates outwards. So you can't do a lot of what's happening around you, but you can do a lot of what's happening within you.
Yeah, exactly.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Carla. Really love talking to you today.
Oh my God, thank you so much. Thank you. I love always talking to you, Rose.
I hope you enjoyed this 2022 prediction podcast with my friend Carla Savannah. Carla's website is carlasavannah.com.au, and the link will be in the description of this podcast. I have truly loved bringing podcasts to you this year, and what a great way to finish this year off. I'll be having January off, but I will be sharing 2 visualizations over January in place of the podcasts to help you manifest and be in the energy of abundance and gratitude. Subscribe not to miss these 2 special gifts that I want to share with you. 2022 will continue this beautiful spiritual journey that we are on together. If you have any questions for one of my Q&A podcasts, just email them to me at info@rosemonaco.com. The link will be in the description. 2022 is upon us, and I want to share this with you. It's something that I wrote for my followers this week, just to end off this podcast. Look at you, getting through this crazy year, a bit frazzled and worn around the edges, but you rocked it. There are times that pushed you to a place that brought out the fear in you, but you were brave and you survived. There were times when you questioned everything, but you made some sense of it and you kept moving on. And there were times when you rose up and you decided, no, own that power, own your journey. Grab all the little gems that you gained along the way that got you here and cherish them. These are your victories. You are amazing. Let's chill, breathe, and gather ourselves. 2022 is going to be different, but guess what? So are you. You are worth it. On that note, beautiful listeners, stay safe. Love those that are in your life and feel gratitude in being here to experience this wonderful gift of life. See you in 2022. See you later. If you're enjoying these podcasts, hit subscribe on your favourite podcast app and leave a review if you're enjoying them. This will help me continue to share inspiration with others. All information on everything I do can be found on my website at rosemonaco.com. You can email me with any questions or any thoughts to info@rosemonaco.com. If you would like to support this podcast, join me on Patreon at patreon.com/rosemonaco. This helps me to create and produce this podcast for you. My book, An Inside Job, a practical guide to finding your true self, can be found on all online stores. I'm on social media at Instagram as Rose Monaco Official and on Facebook as Rose Monaco Believe the Best is Yet to Come. I look forward to connecting with you next time.